Imagine transforming every single day into a powerhouse of focus, energy, and unstoppable productivity where nothing holds you back and every hour counts. In this audiobook, you will discover the secrets to mastering your mornings, planning with clarity, breaking tasks into simple steps, removing distractions, tracking progress, setting powerful goals, building habits that stick, taking smart breaks, reviewing each day, and staying consistent no matter what. Every chapter is designed to give you practical, actionable steps that you can use immediately to upgrade your life, boost your energy, and achieve results like never before. There are no ads, no interruptions, just pure guidance that works if you commit. Subscribe to this channel now and join thousands who are leveling up daily with life-changing strategies. Listen every day, apply every lesson, and watch your productivity explode from the very first chapter. Chapter 1. Wake up early daily and control your morning routine. Waking up early is not a punishment. It is a quiet promise you make to yourself each morning to take control of the day before the day takes control of you. The first hours after sleep are the clearest hours of the mind and the calmest hours of the world. Use them intentionally. That first decision to open your eyes and move from bed into action sets the tone for everything that follows. This chapter gives practical steps on how to turn early rising into a reliable tool for daily productivity and personal strength, and how to build a morning routine that is simple, repeatable, and effective even on hard days. Start by fixing the foundation of sleep. Productivity begins the night before. Choose a bedtime that gives you at least 7 hours of sleep and make it non-negotiable. Electronics disrupt deep rest, so stop screens 60 minutes before bed. Read a paper book, write a short reflection, or listen to quiet music instead. Dim lights and avoid heavy meals close to bedtime. If falling asleep is hard, train your body with consistent sleep and wake times even on weekends. When sleep is regular, waking early becomes straightforward instead of a daily battle. How to wake early with discipline and ease requires small tactical moves. Put the alarm across the room so getting out of bed requires physical movement. Use a simple alarm sound that is firm but not jarring. Program one alarm for waking and a second softer alarm 5 minutes later to reinforce the habit for the first 2 weeks. Keep the bedroom cool and uncluttered, because the environment influences the will. Lay out clothes and a water glass the night before. Those small preparations remove friction and give you a clear path from wake to action. When the alarm rings, breathe 2 slow, deep breaths, then stand and walk toward the light. Open a window if possible and expose your eyes to natural light within the first 15 minutes. Light tells the body clock that the day has begun, and it lowers night hormones. Drink a full glass of water immediately to rehydrate and to activate the body. The physical sensation of cold water on the tongue, the slight chill in the air, and the stretch in the muscles are important because the body and the will work together. A clear body supports a clear mind. Design a short, practical morning routine that lasts between 30 and 90 minutes, and keep it consistent. A reliable routine does not have to be long to be powerful. A sample 30-minute routine that produces momentum includes 5 minutes of breathing or focused attention, 5 minutes of movement, such as stretches or a brisk walk, 10 minutes of planning and prioritizing the day, and 10 minutes of reading or writing. A 90-minute routine might expand those elements with a focused work block after planning and a wholesome breakfast. The goal is a repeatable sequence that primes the mind for concentration, action, and calm resilience. Make the first actionable part of the morning a planning action that is specific and short. After movement, sit with a single sheet of paper or a small notebook and write 3 outcomes for the day that matter the most. Phrase them clearly for execution. Instead of writing finish project work, write complete the first 2 sections of the client report by 11 a.m. Specific outcomes create measurable focus and remove vague, busy work. Number the tasks in order of impact, not order of comfort. The morning clarity of deciding what matters is the simplest way to protect time and energy later. No phone for the first 60 minutes of the day. Phones are attention thieves, and early scrolling steals the brain's most productive state. Replace social media with action. If communication requires attention, schedule a single check at a set time after the morning routine. Use tools like airplane mode or app blockers to enforce the boundary for the first hour. The small act of denying the phone trains the mind to direct attention rather than react to distraction. Include movement that elevates heart rate and wakes the nervous system. This does not require a 2-hour gym session. 15 to 20 minutes of focused movement, such as push-ups, squats, a brisk walk, or a short run, releases adrenaline, increases blood flow, and sharpens the mind. If weather or time prevents outdoor movement, run in place, do a short bodyweight circuit, or follow a 5-minute mobility flow. Movement makes decisions easier and sustains energy through the day. Use a short accountability ritual to anchor consistency. A 5-minute journal entry that records 1 win and 1 lesson from the previous day, plus a short statement of intention for the day, creates continuity. Write 1 sentence about what matters and why. This practice connects the immediate day to a larger purpose and keeps the routine meaningful instead of mechanical. A daily habit of reflection grows resilience because it trains the mind to notice progress and correct course quickly. Ritual stacking accelerates habit formation. Attach new behaviors to established ones, so each action triggers the next. For example, after brushing teeth, do breathing exercises after breathing exercises, drink water after water, write your 3 outcomes. The sequence becomes a chain and the chain becomes automatic. Keep the chain short and consistent for 30 days to make the habit resistant to stress. Nutrition matters, but keep it simple. A balanced breakfast with protein, healthy fats, and moderate carbohydrates sustains energy without causing the mid-morning crash. If mornings are rushed, a quick protein shake, a boiled egg, and a piece of fruit work well. Avoid heavy sugary breakfasts that spike and drop energy. Even small, consistent nutrition choices compound into a steady baseline for discipline. Plan a focused work block immediately after the routine when attention is highest. Use a 60 to 90-minute deep work session on your most important task. Close email and messaging apps and set a timer. During this first work block, do the task that requires creative energy or higher cognitive focus. The morning brain handles complexity better than the overwhelm of later hours. Protect this time fiercely and treat it as non-negotiable. Anticipate resistance and prepare simple if-then plans. If mornings feel impossible because of late nights, then choose incremental changes, such as waking 15 minutes earlier every 3 days. If motivation is low, schedule a short, high-impact task that creates immediate momentum. If the body feels tired, a gentle movement and a shorter focus block still count as a win. The principle is continuous forward motion. Small, consistent wins rebuild confidence faster than sporadic, heroic mornings. Measure and adjust with honesty. Track wake time, routine completion, and energy levels for 2 weeks. Simple notes about whether the routine produced focus or distraction allow practical iteration. If a part of the routine consistently fails, change it. Discipline is not stubbornness. It is practical maintenance of what works. For instance, if writing in the morning never happens because of interruptions, move writing to the protected deep work block and replace that journal moment with a 1-minute reading practice. Handle missed mornings with a clear response, not self-punishment. Missed mornings happen. When they occur, note the cause, adjust the plan, and continue the next day. The Stoic approach is to accept what cannot be changed quickly. Learn what can be changed and then commit to action. One missed wake-up does not define the habit. The recovery is often the proving ground of the habit more than the ideal days. Finally, build a closing practice for the morning that signals readiness, a moment of silence. A short breathing set or a simple phrase that anchors intent completes the transition into the day. It can be as brief as 30 seconds, where attention is focused on the task list and the body feels steady. That micro-ritual communicates to the nervous system that the morning sequence is complete and work begins. Waking early and controlling the morning is not an end in itself. It is a tool that makes consistent action easier. The real success is measured in what the early hours allow you to accomplish over months and years. Discipline is a practice of small, repeated choices that stack into a life that reflects intention. Use these steps to build a morning routine that suits your circumstances. Protect it with boundaries, measure it with honesty, and recover quickly when you misstep. The morning is a daily chance to strengthen will, sharpen focus, and move deliberately toward goals. Take that chance with clear rules, simple actions, and steady persistence, and watch the rest of the day fall into place. Chapter 2. Plan each day clearly and follow your priorities. Productivity is not about doing everything in a single day. It is about doing the right things with clarity and intention. Without a clear plan, your time is vulnerable to distraction and wasted effort. Many people wake up and allow the hours to slip away because they never decided what mattered most. When you fail to plan, you do not simply move slower, you hand control of your life to chance and to other people's demands. To be productive every day, you must decide in advance how you will use your energy and then commit to following those priorities with discipline. The first step is learning to separate what is urgent from what is important. Urgent tasks often scream for attention, but they are not always the tasks that bring progress in your career, your relationships, or your growth. Important tasks create long-term impact, and they are the ones that move you toward your highest goals. Begin every day by writing down what is most important for your life, not just what feels pressing in the moment. If you spend every day chasing urgency, you end the day busy but unfulfilled. If you structure your day around importance, you end the day tired but satisfied. A practical way to start is by using a simple 3-step process each morning. First, write down everything that needs to be done, no matter how small. This brain dump clears the noise and gives you a full view of what is in front of you. Second, choose the top 3 tasks that matter most for your future. These are the non-negotiable actions that align with your long-term direction. Third, assign specific times to those 3 tasks, so they are treated as appointments with yourself that cannot be cancelled. By following this process, you eliminate confusion and replace it with structure. Once you know your top priorities, you must protect them from distraction. Many people create lists, but never act on them because they allow interruptions to take over. Productivity requires boundaries. Put your important tasks in your calendar and block that time. Treat those blocks the way you would treat an important meeting. If someone asked you for that time, you would decline. Do the same for yourself. This is how you honor your priorities instead of allowing others to control them. Clarity also requires knowing what not to do. A to-do list without a not-to-do list is incomplete. Write down the habits or distractions that steal your time and make a conscious choice to avoid them during productive hours. Checking social media, scrolling news, or answering unimportant messages are common traps. Each time you say no to these, you create space for your highest priorities. Self-control is not just about working hard, it is about refusing to waste energy on things that do not matter. The mind functions best when it works with focus, not when it jumps from one task to another. Prioritize one task at a time and finish it before moving on. Multitasking looks efficient, but it drains energy and lowers quality. Give each priority your full attention until it is complete, then move to the next. This rhythm builds confidence because you see real progress instead of scattered fragments of unfinished work. Finishing important tasks daily strengthens discipline and creates momentum. Another powerful practice is reviewing your priorities the night before. When you plan today, you free your morning from decision fatigue. Write down your top 3 tasks for the next day before going to bed. Place that paper where you will see it first thing in the morning. You wake already knowing what to do, and your day begins with direction instead of confusion. The habit of pre-planning also trains your brain to think ahead and to act intentionally instead of reactively. To follow your priorities consistently, you must accept that not everything will get done, and that is not failure. It is reality. Productivity is not about checking every box. It is about moving forward in what matters most. Each day you choose a few tasks that represent real progress. At the end of the day, measure yourself not by how many things you did, but by whether you followed through on the priorities you set. This perspective keeps you focused on growth instead of busyness. There will be days when unplanned events challenge your schedule. The solution is flexibility without losing focus. If something urgent forces you to shift your day, do not throw away your priorities entirely. Adjust the timing or scale them down, but still do something toward them. Even a smaller version of an important task keeps you aligned with your direction. This builds resilience and prevents the cycle of postponement that destroys consistency. Clarity of planning also requires knowing your peak energy hours. Pay attention to when your body and mind feel sharpest. For most people, the early hours hold the greatest focus, but for others, it may be late morning or afternoon. Place your most important tasks inside your highest energy window. Lesser tasks can be handled when energy dips. This simple adjustment multiplies results because you match priority with peak performance. It is also valuable to break priorities into smaller milestones. A large goal can feel overwhelming and lead to procrastination. Divide it into parts that can be completed in one session. If your priority is writing a chapter, the first step is writing the outline. If your priority is preparing a presentation, the first step is designing the opening slide. Each small completion builds progress and makes the next step easier. This method prevents paralysis and keeps you moving forward daily. To maintain motivation, track your progress visibly. Use a notebook, a wall calendar, or a digital tracker where you mark off each day you follow through on your top priorities. The visual record of completion is powerful. It shows you that discipline is not a vague idea, but a chain of concrete actions. Over time, you will see patterns of consistency, and that evidence strengthens confidence. Productivity is not about a single day of effort. It is about the long chain of days where you stayed loyal to your plan. Your priorities must also reflect balance. Work is important, but so is health, relationships, and personal growth. When planning each day, include time for physical activity, healthy meals, rest, and meaningful connection. A day built only on work creates imbalance and burnout. A day structured with balance builds sustainability. Protecting health and relationships is not a distraction from productivity. It is the foundation that allows productivity to continue for years. It is wise to finish each day with a short review. Ask yourself 3 questions. Did I follow my top priorities? What did I accomplish that matters? What must I improve tomorrow? This reflection keeps your planning grounded in reality. You learn what works and what fails. You adjust quickly instead of repeating the same mistakes. Daily review is a mirror of accountability, and it ensures that every plan becomes a lesson for the future. There is no perfect system of planning. What matters is discipline and honesty. Some days you will complete every priority with precision. Other days you may only manage half. The practice is to remain consistent. Each day is another chance to sharpen your ability to decide what matters and to act on it. Over weeks and months, the skill of clear planning transforms your life because it eliminates waste and builds intentional progress. When you take full responsibility for your time, you stop living as if the hours are endless. You realize that each day is limited and therefore precious. Planning is not a rigid rule. It is a declaration of how you choose to use your life. Every morning, you decide whether to drift or to direct. Choose to direct. Decide your priorities before the world decides them for you. Follow them with focus and courage, and you will not only be more productive, you will also live with clarity and purpose. Chapter 3. Break tasks into smaller actions and finish them fully. One of the main reasons people fail to stay productive is not because they are lazy, but because the tasks in front of them feel too large to handle. When a goal looks overwhelming, the natural reaction is to postpone it and convince yourself that you will start later. The longer it sits undone, the heavier it feels. The solution is to break everything down into smaller actions that can be completed step by step. This method removes the sense of being crushed under a mountain of responsibility and replaces it with a clear path of small wins that build momentum. When you divide a big task into smaller parts, you turn something intimidating into something manageable. The brain is designed to respond well to closure and completion. Each time you finish a small action, you release energy and confidence that pushes you forward. Productivity comes from stacking these small completions until the larger mission is achieved. Without breaking things down, you remain trapped in hesitation, staring at something that looks impossible to conquer. The practical way to do this starts with identifying the exact result you want. Write down the final outcome in a single, clear sentence. If you need to prepare a business proposal, the outcome is submit completed proposal to client. Once you have the end goal, you work backward. Ask yourself, what is the very first physical action I can take to begin? That could be open a blank document and create the title page. The second action might be gather all financial data needed for the proposal. By continuing to break it down, you move from a vague project to a series of specific steps that can each be accomplished in a short, focused block of time. Large goals often hide multiple categories of work. That is why it is helpful to divide them into planning actions, creative actions, technical actions, and review actions. For example, writing a book is not one giant task. It is choosing a topic, outlining chapters, drafting pages, editing text, formatting the manuscript, and preparing for publishing. By labeling the categories, you prevent confusion and see the journey clearly. This prevents the mental trap of thinking you must do everything at once, which always leads to avoidance. Another powerful tactic is the 2-minute rule. If a step takes less than 2 minutes, complete it immediately. Sending a quick email, setting up a file folder, or writing down a title often takes less time than the energy spent delaying it. Each small completion clears mental space and builds progress. By applying this rule consistently, you shrink the list of unfinished small actions that often pile up and cause unnecessary stress. When working on a larger task, set mini deadlines for the smaller actions. Without short deadlines, it is easy to drift and spend weeks without progress. For instance, if you are preparing a presentation, give yourself a deadline of 1 hour to create the outline, another hour to build the opening slides, and 2 hours to finalize the visuals. Each small deadline pushes you forward and keeps the pace steady. This method also teaches accountability because you see in real time whether you are honoring your plan. Finishing small actions fully is just as important as breaking them down. Too many people begin but never complete. They half write an email, they open a document without closing the task, they leave notes scattered without finalizing them. This creates mental clutter and drains motivation. Make it a rule that if you start a small step, you finish it before moving on. The sense of closure is fuel for the next action. Every incomplete piece is weight on your focus, while every finished piece is energy for momentum. You also need to understand the role of focus intervals. Small actions are best handled in short, dedicated sessions. Use a timer of 20 to 30 minutes, where you give one action your complete attention. At the end of the interval, either finish the step or pause briefly before continuing. This method reduces distraction and teaches your mind to stay locked in until something is actually done. It is far more effective to finish one step in 30 minutes than to scatter attention across several tasks and leave them all half-finished. Perfectionism is one of the biggest enemies of progress when breaking down tasks. Many people avoid completing a step because they want it flawless. The truth is that progress matters more than perfection. A completed draft that can be improved is always better than a perfect idea that never leaves your mind. Focus on finishing the step at hand, even if it is rough. Once it is complete, you can refine it. By separating action from perfection, you remove resistance and keep the flow moving. Keeping track of completed small actions is a powerful motivator. Create a checklist or digital tracker where you cross off each finished step. The act of checking something off creates a psychological reward and shows visible progress. Over time, this record of completion builds confidence and keeps you motivated through longer projects. It also teaches consistency because you can see how daily small wins accumulate into significant achievements. Breaking tasks into smaller actions also builds resilience. Life is unpredictable and interruptions will happen. If your system is based on small actions, you can adjust quickly. Even on a difficult day, you can complete 1 or 2 steps and still maintain progress. This prevents the cycle of losing entire days simply because you could not complete a huge task. Momentum is easier to protect when the steps are small and flexible. Accountability can strengthen this process further. Share your small steps with a trusted friend, partner, or mentor. Tell them what you will finish today and check in at the end of the day. Knowing someone else is aware of your commitments creates pressure that keeps you from drifting. Over time, this habit teaches self-accountability, where you hold yourself to the same standard without needing external reminders. Another useful technique is grouping similar small actions together and handling them in one focused block. If you have several emails to send, do them in a batch. If you need to make phone calls, handle them back to back. Grouping reduces the mental cost of switching between different types of work and increases efficiency. This allows you to finish more steps in less time without feeling scattered. It is also important to celebrate milestones. After completing a group of small steps that represent significant progress, pause and acknowledge it. Reward yourself with a break, a walk outside, or a moment of relaxation. These small celebrations reinforce discipline and keep your energy high for the next stage. Ignoring progress leads to burnout, while acknowledging it keeps motivation alive. The deeper lesson is that breaking tasks into smaller actions is not only a productivity tool, it is a philosophy of life. Every meaningful achievement is the result of hundreds of small steps completed consistently. Careers are built one project at a time. Health is built one workout at a time. Relationships are built one conversation at a time. By focusing on the step in front of you and finishing it fully, you build a life of steady progress instead of wasted potential. If you train yourself to always divide and finish tasks fully, you will never feel paralyzed by the size of a goal again. You will know that any challenge, no matter how large, can be conquered, piece by piece. Each day becomes an opportunity to move forward rather than a burden of impossible weight. This mindset builds confidence, discipline, and freedom because you are no longer trapped by fear of the big picture. In the end, productivity is not about dramatic bursts of effort, but about small actions done consistently until the larger mission is complete. When you commit to breaking everything down and finishing each step fully, you gain control of your time and your direction. The overwhelming becomes manageable, the unclear becomes clear, and the impossible becomes possible. That is the power of mastering this principle, and it is a tool you can use every single day of your life. Chapter 4. Remove all distractions daily and focus on one thing. Productivity is not about how much you do, but about how well you guard your focus. Every single day, distractions are waiting for you. They are waiting on your phone, they are waiting on your laptop, they are waiting on social media, and they are waiting in the form of endless noise around you. The difference between the person who gets ahead and the person who stays stuck is not talent, not intelligence, not even luck. It's their ability to eliminate distractions and channel all of their energy into one meaningful task at a time. You cannot build a strong life if your attention is constantly fractured. You cannot finish anything powerful if your focus is scattered across 10 things that don't matter. The truth is simple: success belongs to those who learn how to shut out the noise. When you wake up, your mind is clear. But the moment you grab your phone, you're giving control of your day away. Every notification, every message, every unnecessary scroll robs you of energy you should be putting into building your future. Imagine starting the morning with silence. No alerts, no noise, just clarity. That is when you can direct your focus on one high-value activity. It doesn't matter if it's writing, working, creating, learning, or building. What matters is that you commit to one thing, and you give it your full attention without interference. That single commitment, repeated daily, will compound into extraordinary results. Distractions are seductive because they make you feel busy without progress. Checking messages, scrolling feeds, jumping between tabs, switching between tasks, they all give you the illusion that you're working. But deep down, you know you're only wasting time. True productivity requires discipline, and discipline means deliberately choosing what to ignore. The highest achievers in the world are not the ones doing the most. They are the ones cutting away everything irrelevant. They know that focus is like a laser beam. It can cut through steel, but only if it isn't scattered. Think about how often you've tried to multitask, juggling 2 or 3 things at once. At the end of the day, you're left drained, yet nothing meaningful is finished. Multitasking doesn't make you efficient, it makes you ineffective. Your brain is wired to give its best to one thing at a time. When you give your attention fully to a single task, you enter a flow state where hours pass without you noticing. That is where deep work happens. That is where excellence is born. To master this, you need to create an environment where distractions have no place. If your phone pulls you away, put it in another room. If noise interrupts you, find silence or use tools to block it out. If people demand your attention, set boundaries and guard your time. You must treat your focus as a valuable resource, because it is. Every distraction you allow is like a thief entering your home and stealing something priceless. The more you let them in, the emptier your life becomes. But if you lock the doors and guard your mind, you will always have energy left to invest in what truly matters. Productivity is not about force, it's about strategy. You can't rely on willpower alone. You must build systems that protect your focus. For example, decide when you will check emails instead of checking them all day. Schedule time for messages instead of letting them interrupt you constantly. Train yourself to work in focused blocks where you commit to one task and nothing else. Even 30 minutes of undistracted, concentrated effort is worth more than 3 hours of scattered activity. When you remove distractions, something powerful happens. You begin to feel peace. Your mind becomes sharp, your actions feel purposeful, and your confidence grows because you see real progress. That peace is not weakness, it's power. It is the calm strength of someone who knows exactly where they are going and refuses to be pulled off course. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. There will always be temptation to break focus. There will always be an easier option. A message you could reply to, a video you could watch, or a conversation you could join. But the strong resist. The strong don't need constant stimulation because they understand the satisfaction of finishing what they start. Weakness is chasing every distraction. Strength is choosing one thing and crushing it completely. That difference separates mediocrity from mastery. You must also recognize that every distraction carries a hidden cost. It's not just the minutes you lose when you check your phone. It's the momentum, the mental sharpness, the rhythm that is broken. Studies show it can take more than 20 minutes to fully refocus after a single interruption. 20 minutes wasted for a 5-second glance. Multiply that by 100 times a day, and you'll understand why most people never move forward. You cannot afford that if you're serious about success. So train yourself to build walls around your time. Guard your mornings, guard your work hours, guard your creative energy. Protect them like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your future, your dreams, your success, all depend on how well you focus today. Every day you protect your attention, you build the future you want. Every day you give it away, you build the future you fear. One task, one goal, one focus. That's the secret. The world will try to scatter your mind, but you must resist. Every time you sit down to work, ask yourself, what is the one thing that truly matters right now? Then do it fully, not half-hearted, not distracted, not with one eye on your phone, fully. Because when you give everything to one task, you unlock levels of power you didn't even know you had. This is how you stay productive every single day. Not by doing more, not by running in circles, but by removing everything that doesn't matter and giving your best to what does. That is how you build progress brick by brick, day after day, until your life becomes unstoppable. The question is, are you willing to cut out the distractions? Are you willing to guard your focus when everyone else is wasting theirs? If you are, then productivity will no longer be a struggle. It will be your natural state. Do this daily, and you won't just stay productive, you'll stay untouchable. Chapter 5. Track your progress daily and adjust your actions. Productivity is not just about working hard. It's about knowing if what you are doing is actually moving you closer to the results you want. Too many people grind endlessly without ever stopping to measure if their actions are effective. They confuse effort with progress, and because they never track what they're doing, they stay stuck in the same cycle year after year. If you want to stay productive every single day, you must build the habit of tracking your progress and adjusting your actions. This is how you turn effort into results and results into mastery. When you track progress, you bring clarity to your life. You can no longer lie to yourself. Numbers don't lie. Records don't lie. They show you if you're consistent, if you're improving, and if you're wasting time. Without tracking, your brain will trick you into thinking you're doing more than you really are. You'll remember the one day you worked hard and forget the 3 days you wasted. That is why so many people feel busy but remain stagnant. They live in the illusion of effort. Tracking destroys the illusion and forces you to face the truth. Imagine writing down every task you complete, every workout you finish, every page you read, every step you take toward your goals. Over time, you create a mirror of your discipline. You see patterns, both good and bad. Maybe you're consistent for 3 days, but drop off on the 4th. Maybe you start strong in the morning, but fade by evening. These patterns reveal your weaknesses and your strengths, and when you see them, you can act on them. That is how you adjust and improve. The adjustment part is just as important as the tracking. Some people keep records, but never change anything. They collect data like a hobby instead of using it as a weapon. Tracking is only powerful if you look at what isn't working and correct it. If you notice that you waste 2 hours scrolling every night, cut it. If you realize your mornings are unproductive, change your routine. If you see that certain actions bring better results, double down on them. Progress comes from constant refinement, not blind repetition. Think about the most successful people in any field: athletes, entrepreneurs, creators. They are relentless about measuring what they do. Athletes track every rep, every calorie, every second of performance. Business leaders track revenue, habits, meetings, and outcomes. Writers track word counts, drafts, and edits. Why? Because they know that without measurement, there can be no improvement. Productivity without tracking is like driving with your eyes closed. You may move, but you'll never know if you're headed in the right direction. There's another powerful effect of tracking your progress: motivation. When you see a streak of completed days, when you look back and see the stack of tasks you've crushed, when you watch numbers rising week after week, it fuels you. It gives you proof that your work matters. Even on days you feel unmotivated, you won't want to break the chain of progress. That visible evidence becomes accountability, and accountability is a force stronger than fleeting motivation. Tracking also keeps you honest about your goals. Anyone can say they want success, but when you track, you confront the reality of your actions. If you say you want to build a business, but your records show that you only put in 1 hour this week, the truth is clear. If you say you want health, but your log shows you skipped 5 workouts, the truth is clear. This honesty hurts at first, but it saves you from wasting years on empty dreams. You can either face the truth now and correct it, or you can ignore it and stay the same forever. To make this powerful, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need fancy apps or endless spreadsheets. A notebook, a calendar, a simple list, anything that records your actions daily is enough. What matters is consistency. Every day you must write down what you did and what you didn't. Every week you must review and adjust. This process compounds over time. Each small adjustment makes you sharper, faster, more efficient. In a year, the difference will be massive. The beauty of this practice is that it forces you to think strategically. Productivity isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things. When you review your progress, you'll see which tasks actually push you forward and which are distractions disguised as work. You'll learn to cut the unnecessary and invest more into the actions that bring results. That is how you stop wasting effort and start multiplying impact. The discipline of tracking also builds self-respect. Every time you write down your progress, you are proving to yourself that your time matters. You're showing yourself that you are serious about your goals, not just talking about them. Self-respect grows when your actions align with your words. And when you respect yourself, you start demanding more from yourself. That demand fuels even higher levels of productivity. There's also a deeper truth. Life will always throw unexpected challenges at you. Without tracking, these challenges will throw you off course without you noticing. Weeks will slip by, and you'll wonder why nothing has changed. But with tracking, you'll catch yourself the moment you drift. You'll see the dip in consistency, and you'll correct it before it becomes permanent. That awareness is priceless. It keeps you in control when life tries to pull you off the path. So ask yourself, are you willing to face the truth of your daily actions? Are you willing to measure not just your effort, but your results? Most people avoid tracking because they don't want to see how little they're actually doing. But those who are brave enough to measure are the ones who grow. Those who track and adjust daily are the ones who rise above the average. Productivity is not a mystery. It is a system. Track, adjust, improve. Repeat it every day. Over time, the results will stack higher than you can imagine. Small corrections made daily will completely transform your life. You will stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter, and you will start channeling everything into what does. That is the real secret to staying productive every single day. The choice is yours. You can keep drifting, relying on memory and feelings, or you can face reality and take control of your progress. If you choose the second path, your life will never be the same. Every day will have direction. Every action will have purpose. Every result will bring you closer to the life you want. That is the power of tracking and adjusting. That is the key to true productivity. Chapter 6. Set clear goals daily and commit to achieving them. Every day begins as a blank page, and the way you choose to fill it will either bring you closer to the life you want or waste another chance you can never get back. The difference between people who move forward and those who stay stuck is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is clarity. Without clear goals, your energy scatters in all directions. You may stay busy, but busyness without direction is just disguised procrastination. To stay productive every day, you must set specific goals daily and commit with full focus to achieving them. This is how you give meaning to each day and ensure that no effort is wasted. A clear goal is not just an idea floating in your head. It is a target that tells you exactly what to do and when to do it. Vague wishes like be more productive or work on my project will only leave you lost in distraction. Real goals are precise. They define what must be completed, how much progress is expected, and by when. Instead of saying, "I'll read today," you set the goal of finishing 20 pages by evening. Instead of saying, "I'll work on my business," you commit to contacting 3 new clients before noon. Clarity transforms intentions into measurable actions. Once you start setting clear daily goals, something powerful happens. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on structure. Motivation comes and goes, but structure guides you even when you don't feel like working. If you wake up and already know the 3 things that must be done today, you eliminate hesitation. You don't waste hours deciding what to do next, and you don't leave space for excuses. The plan is already made, and your only job is to execute it. That is the difference between a disciplined person and an average one. The disciplined person removes choice and commits to action. Commitment is where most people fail. They set goals, but they treat them like suggestions instead of promises. Productivity dies when you allow yourself to break your own word. If you say you'll complete a task, it must be done regardless of how you feel. Commitment means you don't leave space for negotiation with yourself. You follow through even on the days you're tired, distracted, or unmotivated. This builds mental toughness and strengthens your identity. Each time you keep your word to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, reliable, and in control. Daily goals should never be overwhelming, but they should challenge you. If your goals are too easy, you will feel no growth. If they're too vague, you'll drift. The sweet spot is setting goals that push you forward, but are still realistic enough to complete within the day. Over time, these small, completed goals compound into massive progress. Think of it like stacking bricks. One brick by itself may not look like much, but if you stack them daily without fail, soon you have built a fortress. The fortress of your life is built from daily goals completed with consistency. It's also important to align your daily goals with your bigger vision. Productivity is not about finishing random tasks. It's about moving toward what actually matters. Each day ask yourself, if I only complete these goals, will I be closer to my long-term vision? If the answer is yes, then you know you're on the right path. Too many people waste energy on tasks that keep them busy but bring no real progress. Setting clear goals daily prevents that trap because it forces you to define what truly matters today. Another hidden benefit of setting daily goals is focus. When you decide ahead of time what your top priorities are, you stop letting other people's demands control your day. You'll notice that distractions and unimportant requests no longer pull you as easily because you already know what must be done. Your goals become a filter. If something doesn't align with them, you can confidently say no. That ability to say no is one of the most powerful productivity tools you'll ever develop. The act of writing down your daily goals adds another layer of power. Keeping them in your head is not enough. The brain forgets, gets distracted, or finds excuses. But when you write your goals, you create a visible contract with yourself. Each time you look at that list during the day, it reminds you of your mission. And when you check off a goal after completing it, you experience a sense of progress that fuels you to keep going. This small act of recording and reviewing goals multiplies discipline and makes success measurable. Now comes the crucial part: commitment to execution. Setting goals is worthless without taking action. Many people fall into the trap of planning endlessly but never following through. Productivity does not come from thinking, talking, or preparing. It comes from doing. That is why commitment must be absolute. If you promise yourself 3 tasks today, you don't go to bed until they're finished. That kind of discipline builds unstoppable momentum. With enough repetition, it becomes your natural state to finish what you start. Every day you set and achieve goals. You are not just being productive, you are shaping your identity. You're training your mind to believe that you are someone who gets things done. This identity shift is powerful because once you see yourself as disciplined, focused, and reliable, your actions automatically align with that belief. Productivity becomes effortless because it is no longer something you force. It is simply who you are. There will be days when unexpected problems appear. You may not always complete everything you set out to do, but even in those moments, you can adjust without losing discipline. If one goal cannot be finished due to circumstances beyond your control, replace it with another productive action. Never let a day end without fulfilling your commitment to yourself. That is how you stay consistent, even in chaos. Clear goals also create balance. Without them, it's easy to overwork in one area while neglecting others. By consciously setting daily goals for health, relationships, and personal growth alongside work goals, you maintain harmony in your life. True productivity is not just about making money or finishing projects. It's about building a strong, balanced life that supports long-term success. The truth is, most people underestimate what they can achieve in a year, but overestimate what they can do in a single day. Setting clear goals daily corrects this mistake. You no longer try to conquer everything at once, but you also stop wasting years without progress. You move forward with steady consistency, and that steady pace will always outperform bursts of chaotic effort. In the end, productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters and doing it well. Daily goals give you direction, and commitment gives you strength. Together they transform each day into a step toward your vision. You stop drifting, you stop procrastinating, and you start living with intention. The result is a life of progress, achievement, and deep fulfillment. Every morning, set your goals clearly. Every day, commit to completing them fully. Every night, look back, knowing you honored your word. This simple discipline, repeated daily, will reshape your future in ways you can't imagine now. Productivity is not an accident, it is the result of clarity and commitment. When you live with both, every day becomes meaningful, and every effort becomes a building block toward greatness. Chapter 7. Build consistent habits daily and protect your discipline. Success is not built on random bursts of effort, but on the habits you repeat day after day. Habits are the foundation of productivity, and without them, discipline collapses under the weight of distraction and temptation. To stay productive every day, you must focus on building habits that serve your goals and protect them with unwavering discipline. When your habits align with your values, success becomes predictable rather than accidental. A consistent habit is powerful because it removes decision-making from the equation. You don't wake up wondering whether to exercise, plan, read, or work. You just do it because it has become part of your identity. Every time you perform a habit, you reinforce the type of person you are becoming. If you write daily, you become a writer. If you train daily, you become an athlete. If you study daily, you become knowledgeable. Habits transform actions into character, and character shapes destiny. The danger is that habits can work against you if you are not careful. Just as good habits build strength, bad habits quietly weaken discipline. Scrolling endlessly, hitting snooze, skipping tasks, or making excuses may seem small, but repeated daily, they grow into chains that are difficult to break. Protecting your discipline means guarding your habits fiercely. You cannot allow destructive routines to steal your energy and attention, because every habit is either building your future or destroying it. The key to building consistent habits is simplicity. Too many people set unrealistic expectations and fail because they try to change everything at once. Productivity doesn't come from overwhelming yourself. It comes from starting small and being consistent. 1 push-up a day is more powerful than 100 push-ups once a month, because consistency always beats intensity. When you start small, the habit becomes easy to maintain, and once it becomes natural, you can build on it. Progress grows from repetition, not from extremes. Protecting discipline means creating an environment where good habits thrive and bad habits struggle to survive. Your surroundings influence your actions more than you realize. If your phone is full of distractions, your focus will collapse. If your workspace is chaotic, your mind will mirror it. But if you design your environment to support your habits, discipline becomes easier. Keep reminders of your goals where you can see them. Remove temptations that pull you away from work. Set clear boundaries with people who drain your energy. Discipline is not about willpower alone. It is about designing a life where the right actions are the natural ones. Another way to protect discipline is through accountability. When you commit to a habit in isolation, it's easier to break because nobody sees your failure. But when you hold yourself accountable, whether through tracking your actions, telling someone your commitments, or joining a group with similar goals, you raise the stakes. Discipline becomes stronger when your word is tied to your self-respect. You must treat your promises to yourself as sacred. If you say you will act daily, then you follow through no matter how you feel. That is how discipline hardens into unshakable strength. Habits are not just about action, they are about mindset. If you believe habits are temporary, you will abandon them at the first challenge. But if you see them as a way of life, they become permanent. Discipline is the bridge that keeps habits alive during difficult times. There will be days when you are tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. Those are the moments that define you. If you keep going even then, your discipline becomes unbreakable. Productivity is not built on easy days, it is built on the days you refuse to quit. Over time, habits create momentum. At first, progress feels slow, but once a habit is established, it compounds. Every action builds on the last, and what once required effort becomes automatic. That is why consistency is more important than perfection. Missing one day is not failure, but giving yourself permission to miss repeatedly is the beginning of collapse. Protect your habits as if they are treasures, because they determine the direction of your life. To build strong habits, connect them to your values. Ask yourself why this habit matters. If the reason is shallow, discipline will fade. But if the reason is tied to your deepest goals, you will protect it fiercely. For example, if you build the habit of exercising just to look good, you may quit when progress slows. But if you exercise because you value health, strength, and longevity, you will continue regardless of obstacles. Habits anchored in values are unshakable. Discipline is also about saying no. Every time you commit to a habit, you are saying no to distractions that compete for your time. Protecting discipline requires the courage to decline short-term pleasure for long-term growth. The world is full of temptations designed to break your focus: social media, mindless entertainment, unhealthy food, lazy choices. But every time you resist, your discipline grows stronger. Discipline is a muscle, and the more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. There is deep satisfaction in mastering yourself through habits. Every day you stick to your routines. You gain confidence. You trust yourself more because you know you will act even when it's hard. That self-trust is priceless. It gives you peace because you no longer rely on motivation or luck. You rely on discipline, which is under your control. True freedom is not doing whatever you want. True freedom is having the discipline to do what is necessary. Over the months and years, consistent habits will separate you from the average person. While most people live in cycles of inconsistency, starting and quitting endlessly, you will keep stacking progress. This quiet persistence compounds into results so powerful that others will call you lucky, but you will know it was discipline. Productivity is not magic. It is the simple, consistent repetition of small actions that matter. So every day, build your habits carefully. Wake with intention. Act with purpose. Protect your discipline as if your future depends on it, because it does. The life you want will not appear overnight, but it will be built piece by piece through the actions you repeat daily. Productivity is not a single act, but a lifestyle created through habits. If you respect your habits, guard your discipline, and stay consistent, there will be nothing you cannot achieve. Chapter 8. Take short breaks wisely and recharge your energy. Breaking well is as important as working well, because energy, focus, and clarity do not persist without intentional pauses. When the mind runs non-stop, it loses precision and the quality of output drops, even if the hours increase. Short breaks are not indulgences. They are strategic resets that restore cognitive capacity and protect sustained performance. Use breaks deliberately so they recharge rather than distract and turn wasted minutes into renewed productivity. Start by building a predictable rhythm for work and rest. Work in dedicated blocks and place brief pauses between them. A simple structure is to work for 50 minutes and rest for 10 minutes, or to use 25-minute bursts, followed by 5-minute breaths, depending on how deep the task requires concentration. The important part is consistency, so the brain learns when to push and when to recover. When the body expects relief, it can focus more intensely during the active period. Make breaks active in the right way. Rest does not always mean sitting and staring at a screen. Movement reactivates circulation, clears lactic acid, and wakes the nervous system. Stand up, walk to another room, stretch your shoulders, or perform a short mobility sequence. These actions increase alertness and reduce stiffness, which otherwise turns into low energy and mental fog. Even 2 minutes of purposeful movement can refresh attention more effectively than scrolling through feeds. Design breaks to be sensory resets. Change the light, look at something green or natural, breathe slowly while paying attention to the air entering and leaving the lungs. The senses dominate the state of the mind, so altering visual or tactile input changes cognitive patterns quickly. A brief focus on the senses places you back into the present moment and away from the distraction loop that steals time and willpower. Use breaks to hydrate and refuel properly. Dehydration reduces mental performance and makes tasks seem harder than they are. A drink of water, a small balanced snack with protein and fiber, or a short walk outside to breathe fresh air resets metabolism and improves cognitive flexibility. Choose snacks that sustain energy rather than spike and crash blood sugar. Small, consistent choices across the day are better than sporadic heavy meals that produce sluggishness. Practice micro-meditation during breaks. A minute of focused breathing or a short body scan clears the mind and restores concentration. These micro-practices train the nervous system to return to calm quickly. They are not about reaching enlightenment in 2 minutes, but about giving the brain a predictable tool to fall back on when pressure rises. Over time, these tiny resets become fast and effective anchors for attention. Avoid turning breaks into escapes. The temptation is to treat every pause as permission to lose time on social media or endless videos. Set strict rules for break activities and durations. For example, decide that breaks will not include screens unless they are part of restorative consumption, like reading a short article or listening to a 7-minute guided stretch. Treat breaks as maintenance windows, not entertainment vacations. Discipline during rest sustains discipline during work. Plan different types of breaks for different needs. When mentally exhausted, choose movement or sensory resets. When emotionally drained, talk briefly with a trusted friend or write a short note expressing what is bothering you. When creativity is needed, step into a low-pressure divergent task like sketching ideas or looking through unrelated material to trigger new connections. Matching the break to the type of fatigue prevents misapplied rest that leaves the original issue unresolved. Use environmental change as a powerful break tool. Move to a different room, step outside for a moment, or change your posture and lighting. The brain reads environment as a cue for behavior, so even small changes alter cognitive modes. A walk in natural light for 10 minutes produces a different mental state than leaning back in the same chair and scrolling. Design spaces that invite focused work and separate spaces that encourage restorative breaks. Set timers and honor them. The human impulse is to extend a break beyond reason, especially when the body relaxes. A timer protects momentum and trains you to return. Use a visible countdown if possible, so you can relax knowing you will start again soon. This removes the anxiety of losing control and makes the pause more restorative because it is temporary and safe. Learn to read your energy signals. Precision in taking breaks comes from noticing real changes in performance, not just following a rigid clock. If focus begins to scatter, breathing becomes shallow, or mistakes increase, those are reliable signs that a short reset will pay off. On the other hand, if concentration remains high, continue the session and schedule the break slightly later. Flexibility combined with structure is the most efficient approach. Introduce a midday longer break for deeper recovery. A 20 to 45-minute pause around the middle of the day allows for a proper meal, a short walk, a power nap, or focused reading. Longer breaks are when restoration goes deeper and you return to the afternoon refreshed. Use this time deliberately and avoid letting it turn into a second work session, which defeats the restorative purpose. Practice the 2-minute rule for mental resets. When a thought pattern spirals or doubt appears, stop and give yourself 2 minutes to breathe and refocus. Label the emotion or thought, then return to the task with a clear small action. This prevents the mind from escalating small disruptions into full breakdowns. Small immediate resets prevent long, unproductive detours. Use breaks for brief review and micro-planning. Before returning to work, take 30 seconds to confirm the next immediate step and the desired outcome for the upcoming block. Clarity on the first action removes friction and reduces the risk of procrastination when the session resumes. The transition from rest to work should be intentional, not accidental. Create rituals that mark the beginning and end of breaks. A short physical cue like rolling your shoulders, a 2-breath sequence, or closing your eyes for 5 seconds acts as a bridge between modes. Rituals reduce cognitive switching costs because they signal the brain that a different state is starting and ending. Repeated rituals become reliable triggers that speed transitions over time. Protect breaks from guilt. Many high achievers skip rest because they feel guilty pausing. This is a false belief that productivity equals non-stop activity. Accept that strategic pauses are part of a robust system that increases total output and quality. Reframing rest as an investment, not a cost, makes it easier to honor without self-reproach. Test and adjust break lengths and types over time. Track how different break strategies influence afternoon performance and mood. If energy drops rapidly after certain breaks, change the content or timing. If longer midday pauses produce better late-day focus, schedule them consistently. Small empirical adjustments compound into a highly personalized system that fits your rhythm. Use technology to assist, not sabotage. There are apps and simple timers that encourage focused work and enforce breaks. Use them to maintain discipline. At the same time, remove apps and notifications that tempt you into extended distractions during pauses. Technology should be a tool for structure rather than a gateway to wasted time. Finally, cultivate patience and respect for recovery. Performance is a long game, and the body will not sustain top speed without rest. Honor the limits and plan for sustained effort across months and years, not brief sprints. When rest is treated as essential maintenance, your daily output improves and your long-term capacity increases. This is not softness, it is strategic strength that preserves the ability to produce over decades. Take these practices and design a break plan for the next week. Schedule your work blocks, add short sensory resets, active movement, and a midday longer pause. Track energy after each session and refine the strategy. With deliberate pauses, you will discover sharper focus, improved creativity, and longer-lasting stamina. Rest that is intentional becomes a weapon of productivity and a path to consistent high performance every single day. Chapter 9. Review your day nightly and prepare for tomorrow. Each day comes to an end, and most people rush through it without pause, letting the hours vanish without reflection. Yet the most productive individuals understand that the night is just as important as the morning, because it offers a unique opportunity to review, learn, and prepare. The act of reviewing your day nightly and preparing for tomorrow is not a trivial habit. It is the keystone of consistent growth, self-mastery, and peak productivity. Without it, progress is random, momentum slips away, and repeated mistakes go unnoticed. With it, each day becomes a building block, and your energy and focus compound over time. Begin by creating a simple nightly ritual where you review the day's accomplishments. Ask yourself what you achieved and what was left incomplete. Be honest with yourself without judgment. Acknowledging successes reinforces confidence and motivation, while recognizing areas for improvement allows you to course correct. This practice prevents stagnation because you actively identify gaps between intention and action rather than letting them accumulate. Awareness is the foundation of change. Next, examine the quality of your work. Did you stay focused on the tasks that truly mattered, or did distractions dominate your time? Were your priorities aligned with your long-term goals, or did short-term urgencies hijack your attention? By asking these questions nightly, you develop the ability to differentiate between productive effort and meaningless busyness. This clarity strengthens decision-making for the next day because you know which actions deserve your focus and which are mere noise. Reflect on your emotional and mental state throughout the day. Productivity is not just about tasks completed, it is about energy management, mindset, and resilience. Notice when you felt most alert and capable, and when fatigue, frustration, or stress interfered. Identifying patterns in your energy and mood allows you to structure tomorrow with greater efficiency. Perhaps mornings are ideal for deep work, while afternoons are better for meetings or creative tasks. Understanding yourself in this way turns experience into strategy. During your review, make note of what drained your energy unnecessarily. Identify distractions, interruptions, or behaviors that reduced effectiveness. Once these are clearly listed, you can plan tomorrow to minimize or eliminate them. Small adjustments, when applied consistently, produce massive improvements. Even a 10-minute reduction in meaningless tasks, multiplied over weeks, results in hours of regained productive time. After reviewing, it is time to prepare for tomorrow. Planning ahead gives your day direction before it begins, eliminating hesitation and wasted energy in the morning. Write down the most important tasks that must be accomplished, ensuring they align with your long-term goals. Prioritize ruthlessly, knowing that not everything can be done at once. By defining 3 to 5 critical tasks, you focus your energy where it matters most and reduce mental clutter. Visualize the day ahead as if it is already happening. Picture completing each task successfully, maintaining focus, and overcoming obstacles. Visualization primes the brain for action and builds confidence. This mental rehearsal strengthens commitment and reduces anxiety because you are not stepping into the unknown blindly. You have already imagined the path. Use the nightly review to set specific, measurable intentions for tomorrow. Instead of vague goals like work on the project, commit to precise actions such as finish the first draft of the report by 11 a.m. The specificity creates accountability and a clear standard for evaluating success the next night. Ambiguous intentions leave room for procrastination and disappointment, while clear targets cultivate momentum. Consider incorporating a journaling practice into your nightly review. Write down insights, lessons learned, and any personal observations about performance, habits, and mindset. This creates a record of progress and allows you to track patterns over time. Journaling is a powerful tool because it externalizes your thoughts, reduces mental clutter, and provides tangible evidence of growth. Reviewing past entries can offer inspiration and practical strategies when facing similar challenges. Take time to celebrate small wins. Productivity is often associated with constant output and pressure, but recognizing progress, even minor achievements, builds morale and reinforces habits. Celebrating does not mean indulging or losing discipline. It means acknowledging effort and completion. Positive reinforcement strengthens motivation and encourages repetition of effective behaviors. Evaluate your approach to challenges encountered during the day. What obstacles did you face, and how did you respond? Were solutions creative, efficient, or reactive? Learning from difficulties develops resilience and sharpens problem-solving skills. Each night you build a mental toolbox filled with strategies that can be applied tomorrow and beyond. This iterative learning process turns mistakes into assets rather than sources of frustration. Ensure that your review addresses both work and personal life. Productivity encompasses more than professional tasks. It includes health, relationships, and personal growth. Reflecting on how you invested your energy holistically prevents imbalance. Perhaps you neglected exercise, meaningful conversations, or learning opportunities. Awareness allows you to plan tomorrow intentionally so that no essential area of life is consistently ignored. Nightly preparation also involves practical organization. Lay out materials, tools, or resources needed for the first tasks of tomorrow. Clear your workspace, set reminders, and minimize potential distractions in advance. Reducing friction between intention and action ensures that when the day begins, focus flows seamlessly from the first minute. Productivity is accelerated not just by effort, but by efficiency in execution. A key part of this process is emotional closure. Release lingering frustrations, disappointments, or regrets from the day. Carrying unresolved emotions into tomorrow drains energy and focus. Use a brief reflection, a note in your journal, or a mental acknowledgement to close the day cleanly. This practice allows the mind to rest fully, recharge overnight, and wake refreshed with clarity and determination. Commit to this ritual consistently. The real power comes not from occasional reflection, but from repetition. The more disciplined and structured your nightly review, the more automatic and effective it becomes. It creates a cycle where each day's reflection informs the next day's preparation, gradually transforming chaos into order and distraction into deliberate action. Finally, view the nightly review as an act of self-respect. By taking responsibility for your performance, energy management, and growth, you honor your goals and your potential. Productivity is not about doing more for the sake of busyness. It is about living intentionally, making each day count, and continuously improving. When you consistently review your day and prepare for tomorrow, you reclaim control over time, energy, and progress. Every evening, spend these few minutes reflecting on wins, learning from failures, and organizing the next day with clarity. Over weeks and months, this habit will compound, turning small nightly adjustments into massive long-term achievements. Productivity becomes predictable, focus becomes effortless, and every day begins with purpose. The discipline of reviewing your day nightly and preparing for tomorrow is the bridge between mere activity and true results. It transforms each 24-hour period into a purposeful step toward mastery, growth, and meaningful accomplishment. Chapter 10. Stay consistent daily and refuse to skip responsibility. Consistency is the backbone of achievement, and without it, even the most brilliant plans fail to produce results. Talent, intelligence, and opportunity matter, but they are meaningless without the relentless habit of showing up every day and refusing to skip responsibilities. Staying consistent is not about perfection. It is about commitment, persistence, and honoring the work you have set out to do, regardless of mood, circumstance, or temporary discomfort. Every action you take repeatedly compounds over time, and skipping responsibilities, even once, creates cracks in the foundation of your progress. Productivity, success, and personal growth are all built on the daily accumulation of effort, discipline, and unwavering follow-through. Refusing to skip responsibilities starts with mindset. You must see every task, whether large or small, as non-negotiable. When you approach work with hesitation or a sense of optionality, it opens the door for procrastination and excuses. The most productive people treat obligations like commitments to themselves that cannot be broken. This mindset eliminates wavering and builds a strong internal authority where your actions are driven not by fleeting motivation, but by principle. You do what must be done because your success depends on it. A key element of consistency is establishing routines that make adherence automatic. Routines remove reliance on motivation, which fluctuates daily. When a habit is embedded in a routine, showing up becomes mechanical, almost instinctual. Morning routines, work rituals, and structured sequences of action minimize decision fatigue and increase the likelihood that responsibilities are met. The more you standardize your daily approach, the less energy is wasted deciding when, how, or whether to act, allowing you to focus entirely on execution. Consistency also requires managing distractions and avoiding temptations that lead to skipped responsibilities. Every day presents endless opportunities to defer or ignore obligations. Social media, entertainment, unnecessary tasks, and even well-meaning interruptions can pull focus away from your commitments. Recognize that every moment spent avoiding your responsibilities is a moment your future self will pay for. Protect your time rigorously, prioritize tasks according to importance, and refuse to allow anything trivial to replace essential actions. Accountability strengthens consistency. When you make commitments publicly or within a system of checks, you create pressure to follow through. Accountability does not rely on external judgment alone. It also reinforces your self-respect. You begin to trust yourself because your actions match your words. Each day you honor responsibilities builds confidence and self-discipline, which in turn makes skipping tasks increasingly difficult. The habit of follow-through becomes ingrained in your character rather than dependent on external motivation. Consistency is reinforced through small, deliberate actions. You do not need to achieve monumental tasks every day. What matters is showing up and completing the necessary steps regularly. Finishing minor responsibilities consistently develops momentum and forms a pattern that carries into larger projects. Success is rarely the result of a single extraordinary effort. It emerges from the steady accumulation of small victories that compound over time. Handling resistance is a crucial part of staying consistent. There will be days when energy is low, focus is scattered, and distractions are tempting. The difference between average results and extraordinary outcomes lies in persistence during these moments. Commitment to consistency means acting even when conditions are not perfect. You do not wait for motivation to strike. You act because your standards and integrity demand it. Refusing to skip responsibilities under unfavorable conditions strengthens resilience, discipline, and personal power. Consistency also builds clarity. The more regularly you perform tasks and honor responsibilities, the easier it becomes to predict outcomes and measure progress. Patterns emerge, and you gain insight into what works and what does not. When skipped responsibility accumulate, confusion and inefficiency increase. By adhering to daily obligations, you maintain control over your trajectory and create a reliable path toward achieving long-term goals. Another element of consistency is self-compassion combined with unwavering return. Perfection is impossible. Mistakes happen, and tasks are sometimes missed. The difference lies in how you respond. A missed action is not an excuse to abandon all effort. Recommit immediately, resume the practice, and adjust systems if necessary. Consistency is a long-term process, not a measure of a single day. The strength of character is shown in the ability to resume relentlessly without self-punishment or procrastination. Physical and mental energy management supports consistency. When your body and mind are exhausted, even the strongest will falters. Proper sleep, nutrition, hydration, and exercise create the energy foundation that allows consistent action. Short breaks, reflection, and mindful recovery prevent burnout and maintain stamina. Consistency is sustainable only when supported by deliberate care for your resources and energy levels. Daily effort without restoration eventually collapses, so balance is part of persistent performance. Tracking progress is another tool for consistency. Monitoring completed responsibilities and measuring outcomes provides both motivation and accountability. When you see the accumulation of effort and results, it reinforces the habit of showing up. Reflection on daily completion identifies areas for adjustment and improvement, preventing stagnation and wasted effort. Consistency thrives when supported by feedback, measurement, and informed planning. Long-term consistency develops resilience to external circumstances. Life is unpredictable, and obstacles will arise. External chaos can shake motivation, disrupt plans, and challenge focus. Individuals who refuse to skip responsibilities develop a mental toughness that allows them to continue despite setbacks. They act independently of conditions, relying on principle rather than mood. This resilience is the true advantage of consistency. It makes results inevitable because the effort persists regardless of challenges. Every consistent action builds credibility with yourself and others. When people see you honoring commitments daily, trust increases. But most importantly, the internal credibility, the confidence in your own word, is invaluable. You no longer negotiate with yourself. You execute because consistency has formed a baseline of integrity. Character, productivity, and influence grow from this alignment between intention and action. Consistency also transforms habits into identity. When you refuse to skip responsibility daily, you no longer think in terms of tasks but as a person who delivers. This identity-based mindset strengthens resolve. You no longer ask if you will act. You assume action as natural. The brain aligns behavior with identity, creating automatic adherence to responsibility without daily struggle or debate. In practice, staying consistent means designing systems that support follow-through. Break tasks into manageable steps, schedule them with realistic deadlines, and eliminate barriers. Remove ambiguity from what must be done, and create an environment that favors action. Systems reduce reliance on motivation and make consistent performance predictable. The more friction is removed, the easier it becomes to honor commitments daily. Ultimately, staying consistent daily and refusing to skip responsibility is the cornerstone of productivity, growth, and success. It is not flashy, dramatic, or glamorous. It is simple, deliberate, and relentless. Each day you honor your obligations. You are building a life of discipline, integrity, and momentum. Over time, the compounding effect of daily action surpasses talent, luck, and external opportunity. Success becomes inevitable because you have refused to allow excuses, distractions, or temporary discomfort to dictate your actions. Consistency creates freedom, mastery, and control. By showing up every day, meeting responsibilities, and protecting the habit of follow-through, you forge a path that few can match. Productivity is no longer a matter of luck or bursts of effort. It becomes a way of life. The discipline to stay consistent daily transforms ordinary action into extraordinary results and ensures that every day contributes meaningfully to the life you are creating.